Welcome back. So the equity market has given up much of its early opening gain. Let's figure out what's happening with commodities. We have Manisha joining in. Manisha, of course, it's this West Asia conflict that everyone has has their eyes on. You tell us, for commodity, I mean, what does it mean?
Well, a couple of things really, and two things that have continued to gain. One is gold. It's $50 away from its all-time highs, and the other is the crude oil prices. We've been talking about it constantly. I'm just going to drill deeper into details here, where we did see 7% of gains in the previous Friday for the crude oil prices. With that, it was 13% of gains in the previous week. It's a second straight day of very strong gains continuing for the crude oil prices. But importantly and interestingly, while we did see 78.5 on the higher side on Friday, we are trading below 75 at this point in time. So even as weekend did bring in a lot of more information and news, we haven't seen the crude oil prices take a lot of support from that. Well, while of course there are fears and there are fear premiums being built into the crude oil prices that the escalating tensions could disrupt supplies from Western Asia, there also was one interesting report, and they did give a spike to the crude oil prices. That was that the Israel attack on giant South Pars gas field in Persian Gulf has led to one of the platforms getting shut there. Not too much of an impact coming in from there. Trump also has warned that there could be more restrictions on Iran oil going forward. Also, if it attacks U.S. facilities in the region, then there would be higher repercussions on that. And then the markets also have seen Trump trying to set up dates for coming weeks as that 90-day period gets over. The markets also have seen very strong volumes coming on Friday. We haven't seen a repeat performance of that happen today. But August 2025, $80 call option saw 33,000 contracts on that. The total contracts were 66,000. And of that, half of that in sense of options market went into 2025, $80 there. Now, if the prices have to go higher from here, you will need to see more fresh longs coming in. What we saw on Friday was shorts unwinding their positions, but there were no fresh longs into the trade there. The second, if there is a direct attack on the oil facilities, on energy infrastructure, then you will see crude oil prices going up. Or if it is about a broader regional conflict and more countries start to come together taking sides, then you would be looking at crude prices going up. Until that doesn't happen, markets do not believe that you're touching $80 in a jiffy when it comes to crude prices. Now, Strait of Hormuz, of course, has been an important conversation, but remember, we keep telling you that it never really has been shut. There have been days when we've seen delays in sense of Strait of Hormuz, but that 18 to 22 million barrels per day that we see passing through that area never really has seen any shut there. And Iran, of course, is important. It produces 3.3 million barrels and exports nearly 2 million barrels per day of crude and condensate and fuel as well. And the markets do believe that it would continue to come in. What you really need to watch out going forward from here is Iran telling mediators that it is not open to ceasefire negotiations while under Israel attack. The second thing you will need to watch out is the G7 meeting, where the Israel-Iran agenda is on top here. And then apart from that, it's a barrage of monetary policy meetings happening in this week. The top, of course, is the Bank of Japan. That happens tomorrow, likely to leave interest rates unchanged. The second important meeting, of course, is the US Fed on Wednesday, where there would be a signal of whether or not there are further rate cuts coming in the month of September. And then it also has to be about China's central bank, where they are going to decide on loan prime rate. You also have Swiss National Bank, Bank of England. So there are 6 national banks or central banks meeting in this week talking about monetary policy, and much of an impact on real estate, asset classes and currency would come in from these.
All right, Manisha, thank you very much for that. So that's commodities in focus, and they very much remain top of mind across the board.